What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Gonna be playing some games on PTCGO today, and I've decided to mix it up a little bit, revisiting Lost March, a deck that I think has potential. And I keep saying this, and I've always said it, and I always will say it. The archetype has to have potential for sure. It's able to hit the biggest numbers out of any non-GX deck. It's very versatile as well. Can attack with basics, can attack with evolutions to help versus stalled decks too. So it's a good deck. It just falls a little bit short in the current metagame, mostly because of Zapdos just being able to get to the first punch a little bit quicker than Lost March can. And then also, of course, Ultra Necrozma, which has started to fall off the way a little bit as well, can snipe it, which is definitely big problems with your Sky Scorching Light GX. Otherwise, I think the deck does have some sort of future potential. So I do want to continue to mess around with lists a little bit and figure out what is the best way to play Lost March so that if it ever becomes super relevant, I will feel well-versed enough with it. One of my other favorite things about Lost March is that you get to play this guy, the Let Loose Marshadow from Shining Legends. Looks like we're playing against a fighting deck here. I see a Diancie in the active position. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to want to get as many Hoppips into play as possible. We'll gladly Pokemon Communication away this as well. And I think we're going to get a turn one Let Loose here just to draw some cards. Erika's Hospitality, I mean, I could keep that and go for Let Loose next turn, but I'm kind of feeling like just playing the entire hand down and going from there. Hopefully we find a Lillie or something off of this. Cynthia will do, though, and a Hoppip to boot. So a great starting hand here. Got Cynthia for 6, and then I can Nuzzly Gathering to get more stuff into my hand if I please. No need for that, though. We'll just Mountain Pass. Yes, we will Lost Zone that Acerola there. Get out of here. And then I can Pokécom away. I actually don't want a Nuzzly Gathering right now because you already know I got a Lillie in my hand for next turn. I'll Pokécom away this for a Skiploom, and they're just going to scoop it up. They're like, listen, you're doing way too much Let Loosing me to a dead hand and getting rid of my Acerola. Got him. Turn one Let Loose. That's how we do it here. All right, so I do think that Let Loose is a very substantial threat in standard format and expanded format. Let Loose is just kind of run amok right now and is the topic of a lot of conversations. Is it a fair card? Is it a balanced card? I think we're kind of in one of these weird middle of the season ruts where Let Loose is kind of running amok. I think the second that Dedenne GX drops, Let Loose becomes a less good card. Not that it's not good, but I think that Dedenne is going to be taking up a lot of those spots that Let Loose used to occupy in decks, and then also gives a lot of decks ways to draw out of Let Loose very quickly. I mean, Dedenne is going to increase the speed of decks just 10 times over. And then if you think about the turn one potential with decks, being able to Let Loose and then Dedenne and then Lillie for 8, we're going to see very explosive turn ones here coming up very shortly in standard format. So that is something to look out for on the horizon. I think that turn one Let Loose is still going to be very substantial, but every deck is going to have the potential to draw out of it with the new Dedenne coming out in our next set. Get him! Get him, Trombone! Get that Lillie out of there. That's what I'm talking about. All right. And we'll Cynthia for 6. See what we get here. We've got a handful of hot garbage. All right. We'll Nuzzly Gathering here. See if we can't thin that deck a little bit and get ourselves something better off the top. That'd be nice. But otherwise, it's looking like we're just going to pass town here. I don't really feel like I need to bench that Natu quite yet in case I top deck maybe a, maybe I top deck a Lost Blender or something. I want a Lost Blender away, Emolga, Natu, I don't know. Or a Pokémon. It's there's just no real reason to bench that, I don't think. Apparently, we're just getting scooped too this morning. So that's what we got on the agenda. That's fine. I was feeling like I was going to lose that game. But you know what? If we're going to grind through this ladder here with Lost March and people just scoop into us, I'm totally okay with that. That's fine. You guys, you're really here for the gameplay anyway, or are you here for the banter? That's the question on my mind. Are you here for the gameplay or the banter? Let me know in the comments below. All right, we've got ourselves a Natu here. Double Trombone start and Pokécoms to boot, so looking pretty good, not gonna lie. I think that Lost March, could be decent. I think that, against decks like Zoroark, you should fare pretty well. Against these bigger GX decks, we got Marshadow-GX is another card that could see play in this deck. I've got it in the list currently, though we haven't really gotten to see anything happen yet. It's cool though. We're gonna make it happen right here. All right, let's nest ball. Let's go. Let's see, we can nest ball for, thinking I'm just gonna get, actually tough. I think we just actually get this guy, and then he kind of turns our, Nuzzly Gathering in for another one of these, and then we're going to Pokécom away Emolga here for, we're definitely let loosing, that's for sure. And then we're probably also going to Pokécom away a Trombone and get ourselves a Hoppip. And I'm not really going to bother using the Lost Splendor yet because I just don't really need to. Blitzel! All right, you can keep that horse, I guess. And then we'll let loose. And looking for a Lillie or something like that would be pretty sick. Or another let loose. I'm fine with that. Actually, this whole hand is kind of okay. Yeah, no real reason to. I guess we Pokécom away. We're playing against Zapdos. I guess we Pokécom away the Trumbeak. And technically, we want to get ourselves another Hoppip to set up a little bit better here. So we'll do that and then let loose. This time we're getting the Lillie. This time for surely. Oh yeah, I called it. Let's get it. Okay, so no need to put that grass energy down yet. We're just gonna Lillie for some cards. And yeah, it's looking like I got a turn 2 attack, so that's pretty rad. I can Lost Splendor the Natu and the Marshadow. No real need to do that either. Think we're probably just staying put. Now, I could attach a single grass to the Natu in case my opponent doesn't take a knockout on my Natu, and then I can, I guess we only play 8 energy though, so we do have to be careful, but should be cool with that. We're just gonna do that. And then pass, just in case my opponent doesn't take a knockout. I do have Guzma though, so I guess I could do it that way. I don't know, I just feel safer putting the grass down there, but maybe that's not correct. We'll end up seeing here. I've only got 1 Pokemon in the Lost Zone now. I will have the potential to get 1, 2, 3, 4, so enough to do like 80 this next turn. Unless, of course, my opponent Guzma's up a Hoppip and knocks it out with Zapdos. Mean, very mean. Not exactly into that. And then you're going to let loose me. Sure, maybe I should have Lost Splendored while I had the chance. I haven't really come to expect the Lost, I haven't come to expect the let loose from Zapdos yet. It's still very good. I think that it is something I need to come to expect a little bit more often. I'm used to this deck not playing let loose, but many of them are playing let loose now, which is a new development for the deck overall. Gonna Nuzzly Gathering, get this guy out, and then let's Lost Splendor these guys away. See if we draw anything good off the top of the deck. A Skiploom. That's fantastic. So we can do that. Can evolve into Jump Daddy, all right? And then, we're going to be doing, like, not enough damage. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We're going to be close. So we could do this. Jump Dad, Jump Dad, Jump Dad. Let's go. Floral Path. Get the man. Okay. And then I'm just kind of stuck. I can Lost Blunder away my final cards. That seems like a crucial misstep. I could hit for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That seems not good either. So I think I probably just retreat into Marshadow. I mean, hitting for 100 seems horrible, so I'll probably just do this and pass. And then, you know, if they knock out a Marshadow, that's fine. I could have played my whole hand down to get the knockout. I could have Rescue Stretchered. I mean, but I'm not even guaranteed the knockout because I go to a Rescue Stretcher for a Pokemon, Lost Blundered it away. Then I would have had to hit a supporter card. And this is kind of the realm we see Lost March hit like most often, is that it just kind of stalls out sometimes. And, you know, opponent's just going to get ahead 2 prizes before I actually stabilize myself. And the format is just too fast for that to be the case. I can't actually let this happen. And since they're not knocking out my Let Loose, I can't actually Rescue Stretcher for it back to draw more cards. So maybe we need to be... I think Dedenne is going to go fantastic in this deck, first of all. I mean, Dedenne is going to be very good because that's going to allow this deck to draw more aggressively, which is something that it kind of needs to do. Let Loose is good, but it doesn't quite get us enough cards to churn through our deck. So at this point, so long as my opponent can continue to just draw cards throughout the course of the game, they're just going to win by just using Thunderous Assault on all my guys who all get knocked out by Thunderous Assault. So that is just dandy, isn't it? We're going to Rescue Stretcher, get ourselves that Hoppip back, and then potentially just Lost Blender away these guys and hope that maybe I find a supporter now. Nope, DCE, which doesn't get me anywhere. And we have like one more turn to attack. Yeah, 140. We're still not even doing enough to knock out really a big Pokemon GX. So where did Lost March go wrong? Why? Why is Lost March just... It's really right where I left it off. I don't know. Every once in a while I'll revisit Lost March and I'm like, surely you're going to be that deck I dream you could be now, right? And it's just not the case. We're looking at Zapdos here, just really doing its thing. Pretty much the superior non-GX attacking deck. Zapdos has really hated all of the other non-GX decks out of the format. Even decks like Grand Bull just really can't keep up with the quick Zapdos. And even if Grand Bull can beat Zapdos, it can't beat the other threats that we have in standard format either. And since we do have like a lot of mucks being played anyway, you know, Grand Bull kind of got hated out, Lost March got hated out, and you know, the only other real non-GX deck kind of hanging in there is like I see spread decks every so often, but even spread decks are really just tier 2, tier 3, really, and kind of struggling to find their own footing in standard format as well. I feel like standard has really warped itself into being just like 4 decks, maybe 5 decks. And it's just very, very strongly those 5 decks. This is looking like it might be Azul's list here, or very similar to the list that Azul won a cup with, except Azul did not play a Let Loose Marshadow. Wow, my opponent somehow did not find the switch card to knock me out. Hilarious. So, Azul's list was not playing a Let Loose Marshadow, though. I think it definitely should. That was like my only criticism of his list, which I thought was nice, and it does have a 2/2 Zip Strike line, which I really like. We'll get this Emolga out here. You know, we're going to make the game, I guess, last a little bit longer. Sure, why not? And we'll just Lost March here. Take them out. At this point, sure, we'll go to like 4-4 prizes. We got a Pokémon, which doesn't do us anything. But, you know, my opponent can knock me out with any of these guys. Zebstrika can headbolt me. Zapdos can Thunderous Assault. There's just like a lot going on here. Please attack with your Zebstrika. Please do it. Just let me see a headbolt with that Zebra for knockout. That's what I really want to see. I would love that. That would just be fantastic. No, they've got the escape for it. They're going to retreat. Don't retreat. That's no fun. Well, hopefully they take the game-winning knockout with their Zebra. At this point, we are trading back and forth, one prize for one prize. Even if I'm able to find an attacker every single turn from here on out, they are ahead one. So the only way I'm going to win is if they put a GX down into play, which I highly anticipate that they will not do. That would be very irresponsible of them. So let's, sure, just trade away this Emolga here. And just going to get myself another Natu, since that seems to be who I kind of am going to be attacking with, at least for these next couple turns. And then we're going to Nuzzly Gathering and get that Emolga right back out the deck. Thin it a little bit more. You know what's funny? I can Nuzzle for free with Thunder Mountain. That would be pretty sick, right? Yep, here we go. Natu and Lost March. All right. Goodbye, sir. We'll take our prize, and maybe one of these days we'll find a supporter card. 25 cards left in deck, and yeah, but not for now. It's not happening. We're just barely chugging along here. I'm running out of steam. I've got one more guaranteed attack on board before things start to get a little bit hectic. And we'll say taking knockout, turn after turn with Zapdos can sometimes get a little bit tiring as well. It does happen. Eventually you start to strain your Zapdoses. All the Zapdoses end up in the discard pile, and you have to do things like take a Sledgehammer knockout with the Beast Energy Buzzwole. That sometimes happens as well. All right, we've got Emolga, Nest Ball. Let's see what we got. Cynthia, oh baby, let's go. I think I have enough Pokemon in the Lost Zone to do this, so that should be fine. Let's use that Nest Ball. Yep, get the Hoppip out the deck, and that just thins our deck one more card since we're not actually going to really want that. And we've got Skiploom. Oh boy, check that out. Now we're doing things. And we've got Trumbeak. We can, go ahead, maybe get one of their supporters. It's a switch. That's fine. And I can also Floral Path into the sky to get a Jumpluff out the deck. And no real Pokemon that we want to get out of the discard pile now. So we're very content just retreating and taking this knockout with Natu. Doing 100 and 400 damage. Wow, it's weak. We were doing 200. So that's pretty good. We've got a bunch of Pokemon, 10 Pokemon in the Lost Zone now. So, now we're still not knocking out like a Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX though. We're only doing 200, and it has been a lot of turns. Safe to say, Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX would have plenty of time to have taken their 6 prizes by now, like using Tag Bolt and all sorts of things like that. Opponent's going to go down to 1 prize remaining, and I have to imagine, since I do not play a counter stadium, that they are just going to take that knockout with their Zebstrika. But we are going to, we kind of have to go in with our Marshadow, who's our biggest dude and actually has the lowest chance of getting knocked out in one hit. So we're going to try it at the very least. And, oh, look at that. That's cool. And we can Lillie for a bunch and see if maybe we find ourselves a DCE. That would be pretty sick, right? And then I could go in and, knock it out with Marshadow, make this a little bit exciting. Let's see, can we make this exciting? All right, we're going to make it exciting. Let's go, Marshadow. He's our biggest attacker, so, make my opponent have to have Guzma for game. That's fine. We'll see what we can do here. Go down to 1 prize. They probably have it, but, they can take their knockout with Zebstrika for game. If they just have Guzma in hand, they can Guzma up whoever and use Headbolt for knockout. So 1-to-1 prize, still not bad. Honestly, for a matchup this is pretty much one of the reasons why we can't even play this deck in Standard, is just because this deck is too good against our deck. We still got them to 1-to-1 prize, which is how I feel like every matchup with this goes, is we always get to 1 prize remaining, but we're just slower. It's very hard for Lost March to get the turn 1 knockout against Zapdos, and that is really just that. So I'm going to go ahead and show off my list a little bit when we talk about it and see what kind of options we have for this deck. I did see a version of Lost March out there that played 4 copies of Judge Whistle. I think that is interesting for sure, and Judge Whistle could become a more played card here in the near future in standard format, especially with all these stall decks running amok out there. I think Judge is very powerful against stall decks, and if you're playing like a turbo deck, if you play like a copy or two of Judge, then Judge Whistle could get them back. But then if you're playing turbo, you could just go in and play your 4 Judge Whistle, and I've seen Judge Whistle played without Judge at all. So that's like very cool as well. It just makes your deck essentially a 56 card deck instead of a 60 card deck, which increases consistency and allows you to hit the kind of key cards that you want with a higher frequency, which is pretty dope. So this is what I got for Lost March right now. I feel like this is very vanilla, very straightforward, about as kind of quintessential Lost March as you can get for the deck right now. We're not playing any copies of Ultra Ball or Oranguru, and I guess like Oranguru probably would have been pretty good in here. We saw that mid-game where I was just kind of barely drawing through my deck, so Oranguru might have helped. Though I will say that with the Emolga engine, your bench is usually pretty jammed, especially with 2 copies of Let Loose Marshadow, which I also think is very good. Gonna have a pretty jammed bench most of the time. So that's it for Lost March. Let me know, what do you guys think of Lost March in the comments below? Do you think the deck has any sort of future, or is it just forever relegated to tier 3 meme status? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you as always for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell. Check out the Etsy store, Patreon stuff, and Full Grip Games all in the description below, as well as my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where we stream 5 days a week, weekdays, every single day. Thank you all for watching. Peace.